What's up, Cowboys Nation? The Dallas Cowboys are in one of the most critical off-seasons in franchise history, and the big question on everyone's mind is, where is this team headed after a disastrous 7-10 season, missing the playoffs and parting ways with Mike McCarthy? Cowboys owner Jerry Jones decided to promote Brian Schottenheimer to head coach, a move that left a lot of people scratching their heads. And now, a Cowboys legend is speaking out. Former star wide receiver Dez Bryant just gave a brutally honest take on the state of the team, and he's not holding back. According to Dez, the Cowboys aren't serious about winning and are wasting Dak Prescott's prime with the decisions they're making. Before we break it all down, hit that like button to support the channel, and if you love talking Cowboys football, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any updates. Now let's dive into Dez Bryant's harsh, but maybe honest, take on the Cowboys' future. In a recent interview on Maggie and Perloff, Dez Bryant did not hold back when talking about the Cowboys' decision to promote Brian Schottenheimer instead of bringing in a fresh coaching mind. They're not serious about the future in the next 2 to 3 years, Bryant said. That's a bold statement from one of the most passionate Cowboys players we've ever seen. Dez went on to say that he saw last season as a rebuild, and in his eyes, the team is moving in a direction that doesn't prioritize competing at a high level. I felt like last year the Cowboys were rebuilding. They proved me right, Bryant continued. This is where things get interesting. Dez isn't just criticizing the coaching hire, he's questioning the entire strategy of the front office. He believes that instead of building a team to win right now, the Cowboys are making moves that don't reflect an urgency to maximize Dak Prescott's prime years. When I look at Dak Prescott, when I look at that offense, I'm looking at the things that you need to be successful playing in this league. I just don't see it. And he didn't stop there. The decision to promote Brian Schottenheimer to head coach was met with a lot of skepticism from fans and analysts. And according to Dez Bryant, it was the wrong move. Shotty, he doesn't really have any experience. It's no knock on him. I pray he does good. I want him to do good. I bleed blue, so we just gotta wait and see. But my take on it, I don't see any success. That's a brutal assessment. But Dez isn't the only one who feels this way. Many Cowboys fans believe that the team needed a fresh start, maybe even an offensive genius like Ben Johnson or Mike McDonald. Instead, they promoted a guy with limited head coaching experience and a mixed track record as an offensive coordinator. And then Dez dropped the bombshell. Why sign Dak to that contract if you weren't going to put the best pieces around him to succeed? That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? If Dak Prescott is truly the franchise quarterback, why hasn't the front office done more to surround him with elite coaching and top-tier talent? It's a fair criticism, and it's one that Cowboys fans have been debating for years. Of course, Jerry Jones sees things differently. When asked about the direction of the team, Jones completely denied that the Cowboys are in any kind of rebuild. The decisions I'm making are not based on rebuilding. They're based on competing and competing now, Jones said. And he doubled down with this. I wouldn't have signed Dak Prescott, highest paid player in the NFL, if now wasn't when we wanted to win. That's a strong statement. But here's the problem. The Cowboys' actions don't match their words. They let go of Mike McCarthy, but they didn't go after a proven championship-caliber coach. They promoted Brian Schottenheimer, but they didn't make any aggressive off-season moves to improve the roster. That doesn't exactly scream all-in for 2024. And then there was this comment from Jerry Jones that had fans shaking their heads. This is a shocker to be here at this Super Bowl and not have the Cowboys here playing in it. Wait. What? After going 7-10, missing the playoffs and failing to make major upgrades to the team, how could anyone be shocked that the Cowboys aren't in the Super Bowl? It almost feels like Jerry genuinely believes this roster was ready to compete at the highest level, even though we all saw what happened last season. Last year, Jerry Jones promised an all-in offseason for 2024. But let's take a look at what they've actually done. Promoted Brian Schottenheimer to head coach, brought back Ezekiel Elliott on a cheap deal, signed Eric Kendricks to a short-term contract, no major free agent signings, no big trades to improve the roster, no major offensive upgrades. That doesn't look all in. That looks like a team that's playing it safe and waiting for 2025 when they'll have more cap space. And that's exactly what Dez Bryant is calling out. The Cowboys are acting like a team that's rebuilding, but they won't admit it. And the big question now is, where does this leave Dak Prescott? Let's be real. Most Cowboys fans didn't know much about Clayton Adams before this hire, but after taking a deeper look, there's a lot to be excited about. Adams has a strong reputation for developing offensive lines and building dominant rushing attacks. That's exactly what the Cowboys need, especially after a lackluster running game in 2024. His most recent job, run game coordinator and assistant offensive line coach for the Arizona Cardinals. And let me tell you, Arizona's run game was no joke last season. The Cardinals had a top 10 rushing attack in 2024. Veteran guard Will Hernandez credited Adams for reviving his career. Adams helped turn an injury-plagued offensive line into a physical, aggressive unit. And now he's bringing that mindset to Dallas. Adams made his excitement clear in a recent post on Instagram. "Man, I sure have been lucky enough. Thank you to everyone who has supported me and my family on our journey. Arizona and the Cardinals have been amazing to us. Love you all." He's fired up. And that's exactly the energy this team needs. One of the biggest problems for the Cowboys last season, an inconsistent rushing attack. Tony Pollard never looked like the same player after his injury. The offensive line was banged up, and the play calling under McCarthy lacked creativity. The result? The Cowboys ranked 22nd in rushing yards per game in 2024. They averaged just 3.9 yards per carry, one of the worst marks in the league. They had zero identity in the run game. That has to change. And that's where Clayton Adams comes in. While Schottenheimer will call the plays, Adams will have a huge influence on the running game and offensive line development. His track record suggests he knows how to build a physical, downhill rushing attack. This could be a sign that the Cowboys want to get back to their roots, dominating in the trenches and running the ball effectively. What does this mean for the Cowboys' offense? If you're Dak Prescott, this hire should be great news. A more consistent running game means less pressure on Dak to carry the offense. More balance, which makes the passing game more dangerous. A stronger offensive line to keep him upright. We've seen what happens when the Cowboys run the ball well. They win games. In 2022, when Tony Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott were clicking, Dallas had one of the best offenses in the league. In 2024, they couldn't establish the run, and the offense stalled. Adams' job will be to fix that, and let's not forget, he's a former offensive line coach. That means he'll be working closely with guys like Tyler Smith, Zach Martin, and Terrence Steele to bring back the physicality up front. If Adams can rebuild this offensive line's dominance and establish a reliable run game, the entire offense will benefit. The Brian Schottenheimer factor. Here's the big question. How much control will Adams actually have? Right now, Schottenheimer is expected to call the plays, but Adams' influence on the running game and O-line development shouldn't be overlooked. Schottenheimer himself wasn't a flashy hire, but he's been assembling a solid staff, one that could surprise a lot of people in 2025. Clayton Adams brings physicality and a strong run game focus. Other coaching hires suggest a commitment to building from the trenches. The Cowboys are shifting back to a balanced power football approach. This isn't just a throw the ball 40 times a game offense anymore. And honestly, that's a good thing. So, Cowboys Nation, where do we go from here? Dez Bryant thinks the Cowboys are wasting Dak Prescott's prime. Because Ski Nights, Brian Schottenheimer's hire has not inspired confidence. Jerry Jones insists the team isn't rebuilding, but the lack of moves suggests otherwise. The truth is, this season is going to be a huge test. If Schottenheimer proves the doubters wrong and leads the Cowboys to a deep playoff run, then maybe Jerry was right all along. But if this team stumbles through another disappointing season, then Dez Bryant's criticism will look even more accurate. Now, we want to hear from you. Do you agree with Dez Bryant? Are the Cowboys not serious about winning? Is Brian Schottenheimer the right coach to lead this team? What moves should Jerry Jones make to get the Cowboys back to Super Bowl contention? Drop your thoughts. Let's talk about it. And before you go, hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss any Cowboys updates. Thanks for watching, and let's see if the Cowboys can prove the doubters wrong this season.